Meeting tonight, and actually you're having green drinks tonight. We're doing our pre-St. Patrick's Day parade, so we're having Irish coffee in our council chambers, so I have to get back, but we always do our St. Patrick's Day parade a week or two early. I think it's the economics of paying for the bagpipe bands. New York City beats us out. But this is actually a very green street that you're on. Right across the street is 66 Main Street, which is a geothermal building. All of the water goes into the building, goes down 120 feet in 10 different wells, comes up. So in the summer, it's cooled by the ground, and in the winter, it's heated by the ground. And the utility expense for those apartment dwellers are about $40 a month compared to about $200 a month on the water. The Collins development is on the water right next to the science barge. I don't know how many of you have seen the science barge, but it's two hydroponic greenhouses with solar power and little wind power, and we use it as an illustration to show what rooftop gardening can be. We had 4,000 school children visit it last year, but importantly, we also had a dozen real estate developers visit it, and one of them, Eric Wolf and Ken Dearden, I guess that's two of them, but they're partners, are turning Teutonia Hall, which is south of the trolley barn, into a facility that will have a rooftop garden. And they want to do agribusiness. There's a resurgence of greenhouses in Yonkers lately. Boyce Thompson used to have a lot of agricultural greenhouses, and Samuel Untermeyer used to have a lot of horticultural greenhouses. And there's a restoration of each going on North Broadway, and greenhouses are coming back. And the last thing I want to leave you with is just our daylit Sawmill River. So that window was open before, but if you open it up and look across the little parking lot, you'll see what was once a parking lot and is now the Sawmill River. The Sawmill River starts in Chappaqua and sort of meanders along the Sawmill River Parkway. When it hits Yonkers Avenue, it makes a right-hand turn and heads towards the Hudson River. 150 years ago, that was polluted by tanneries and raw sewage from humans and farms, and our city fathers decided rather than clean it, they would just bury it. So most of downtown Yonkers has this river running underneath it, and we got about $24 million from Governor Pataki a few years ago to begin the daylighting process, and through Governors Spitzer and Patterson and Cuomo, we continued it, and finally we have unearthed this sawmill. And it's certainly, you can cheat by just looking out the window here, but it's worth a little walk as you leave tonight. It's 2 blocks long. It's got 25 different signs that show, what it was, how it got there, how the Indians were there, and how the railroads came through and put in silt, and they buried it and ultimately uncovered it. There have been 146 species of fish and eel spotted there already in the year that it's been open. There's a fish ladder so that the fish can swim upstream, because there's also a waterfall, which if we didn't put the ladder in. And during Hurricane Sandy, it actually worked because we had the underground flumes still in place. So we opened them both up, and they were able to absorb some of the sawmill. So while we did get flooding in Yonkers up till that library, it was flooding from the Hudson River that came underneath the train tracks, not from the Sawmill River that flooded. So the project from an engineering point of view worked. It was just given an engineering award, and hopefully it will encourage economic development around the river, both new development and adaptive reuse of old buildings. We recently landmarked the Phillips Manor Historic District across the street from Phillips Manor Hall, which, by the way, sits in the corner of Larkin Plaza. It's the second oldest structure in Westchester County. It was built in the 1600s, and Frederick Phillips lived there. And 2 weeks after the 52 Patriots signed the Declaration of Independence in Philadelphia, Frederick Phillips and 51 other Tories signed a Declaration of Dependence, pledging their allegiance to King George. Unfortunately, he didn't win, so he was asked to leave his lands, and it would have been hung at that time. We actually, a couple of years ago, did a recreation of one of the Frederick Phillips weddings at the 250th anniversary. We had to get permission from New York State, because even though we don't have capital punishment on the books anymore, the edict that banished him to England said that if he or any of his descendants ever to step foot on the land again, they could be hung. So we got New York State to waive that in writing. But anyway, welcome to Yonkers. This building itself was an adaptive reuse of an historic building and really was the linchpin of our economic renaissance, the beginning of Restaurant Row, which stretches from Bella Havana right here on the corner down to X2O, which I'm sure you've all been to, right on the historic Yonkers Pier. So enjoy Yonkers and welcome.
Thank you.